What a test match we just got treated to. Real shot in the arm for anyone who was, suffering from a little bit of rugby fatigue. That one really must have brought back the love of the game. My name's Mark. Let's talk rugby. It was South Africa that had the early momentum in this one. Some really big carries up the middle. Then they go wide. Khaleesi, who puts Arendse into space. He cuts back inside of the challenge of Osborne out wide and then goes over for the opening try. Pollard nails the conversion. 7-0 South Africa lead. Kwagga Smith then drops to restart and Ireland begin to build. They work it into the 22. Porter stopped just short of the line and back we come for a penalty. Ireland, they decide they're going to tap this one. South Africa resist the initial drive, but Ireland, they recycle a few times before pressure from the South African defence forces an error from Joe McCarthy. Brilliant defence from the Springboks. We saw a lot in this game as well. I thought both teams are really good on defence, but the Springboks especially, in that danger zone around their own line, it just held so firm. They were brilliant at times. South Africa then kick long from the scrum and Osborne actually drops that kick, giving them a 60-metre gain. So, got to feel really good about that. You keep your opposition out and then it's immediately followed by a mistake by them that now has you on the front foot. The attack though peters out and results in a dropout to Ireland. Kwagga Smith drops this one again. I thought he was excellent in carries and stuff like that, just under high ball, maybe, not as secure, but there were so many guys who were brilliant on the high ball in this game. There's so many brilliant performances. I could name, Ireland did really well, but I could honestly name the entire box team and tell you, that they had a great game. There were very few, even average performances in this game, honestly. It really was brilliant. But from that drop ball, Ireland work it up. They force a penalty. Oxenchain not rolling away. Crowley then opens Ireland's account from the tee, 7 points to 3. Then Sia Khaleesi just runs over Robbie Henshaw. And Robbie Henshaw is not a small guy. Just the power from Khaleesi there was absolutely exceptional. And then Joe McCarthy gets pinged for not rolling away. Pollard then extends South Africa's lead, 10 points to 3. Dan Sheehan struggling with a couple of lineouts, and then Willie LaRue decides to really put the pressure on him by kicking right into the corner. Absolutely pinpoint from him. But then Sheehan steps up to the plate and he actually hits his man, and Ireland can breathe a sigh of relief. And then South Africa applying more pressure in position. Porter gets pinged for off feet. Pollard strokes this one over and it's 13 points to 3. And South Africa always just, keeping that scoreboard ticking over. And it's so important in tight games like this. If you get yourself out ahead, in a tight game, they're 10 points ahead. It can feel like a massive, cushion for them and a big mountain for Ireland to climb as well when, points are so hard to come by. From here then, Furlong with a big carry swats away Curtly Arendse on his way, gives momentum to Ireland. They win a penalty. Crowley then misses and feel like it should have been a gimme for him, but we're still at 13 points all and it could be costly. And you're seeing it on both sides, as the game goes on, the pressure that was here, and you can see why in the build-up, people talking about this being a special test series. These two teams, nobody's taking a backward step in this, and they're applying huge pressure to each other. And, even the best, you're seeing a little bit of cracks from them. Then South Africa offside, another penalty. Crowley decides this time he's going to go to the corner. Ireland battering away at the South Africa line. Defence is holding strong, and, it's a real titanic battle. Then Dan Sheehan with a strong carry pops the pass to Lowe out wide. Lowe, he's right next to the touchline. He's holding off two South African defenders, somehow manages to stay in field before giving a pass back inside one-handed to Osborne, who goes over for a debut try. Crowley misses the touchline conversion. We're at 13 points to 8. Porter then comes up the side of the ruck and he rightly gets pinged. He was trying to kind of steal a bit of a march, but absolutely rightly pinged there. Pollard calls for the tee again, but he misses his first kick of the game. It was a tough kick, but somebody as Pollard's quality, you're thinking he's going to get it close. Half-time score then is 13-8 to the Springboks. And if they've got that, again, that little bit of a cushion, South Africa then, they look to start the second half the way they did the first half, and they're applying massive pressure close to that Irish line. Ireland just holding them out. De Klerk then decides to go inside, to try to find kind of softer shoulders or maybe some space on the other side of the field, but Ireland managed to intercept, get it back to Crowley. There's a diving pass from Peter O'Mahony in there. Crowley picks the ball up from his toes and manages to kick it clear. So many points there where Ireland could have made a mistake that gave South Africa a chance to extend that lead. But they did really well to get rid of that ball. South Africa then, they come again. Ireland almost turned the ball over, but it comes out for de Klerk, and Kelleher, he's on for Sheehan. He swings a leg at it and he concedes a penalty. And then, you put your house on Pollard getting this one, but he misses what was, the first kick he missed was difficult. This one, you would have thought, eyes closed, the guy's going to get it. Similar to the one that Crowley missed in the first half. So we're still at 13 points to 8. When you see the game, it's just so tight there. That ball, Ireland initially, almost turned it over. Then it's going back on the South Africa side, and then Ireland almost get it back, and then it comes out again for South Africa. And then Kelleher gets pinged, rightly, as I said. And it's a crucial period of the game now. If Ireland can somehow get their noses in front, then they've got a real chance, to win this. But I never felt like that Ireland were going to come back with like a score to win it at the end. It felt like in that period, between kind of 50 minutes and 65 minutes, I felt that's where Ireland needed to get ahead and then, try to keep ahead to the end of the game. I didn't feel like, for whatever reason, maybe it's like a bias that I have, that I don't, very rarely see Ireland as a team that can win a game at the death. They're more a team that, again, they get ahead and then they're so good at managing it to the finish. And I felt like that was the crucial period for Ireland, was that, that time there, round about up to the 65-minute point. And, it felt like as well, though, that every score that the teams were getting, was taking a monumental effort to actually get it over the line or win that penalty as well. Ireland then tried to be too clever with a line out on the edge of their own 22. We've got two dummy jumpers before then they go to the back. It's scrappy ball. Peter Steptoe gets the loose ball first, carries well, and then South Africa go wide. Osborne does really well to force a knock-on from Aronson, because if he didn't, Aronson collects that and he's probably in to score. South Africa then, they bring on the bomb squad. Ireland start to bring on some of their replacements as well. Ireland win a penalty at the scrum as play gets underway again. South Africa probably, not just probably, South Africa were on top in the scrum, but Ireland did have their moments, in that facet as well. And it felt like, if Ireland could have maybe got a little bit more parity towards the end, they could have got a bit more of a platform. But South Africa really came back when later when the bomb squad kind of had a real effect there. Kelleher then, I skipped a bit. South Africa then, they're on the attack again. They counter, basically Ireland were right up in their face, kind of around about the 10-meter line or so, or just in front of the 22. And Crowley goes for an ambitious ball to Byrne, and it's not quite right, so he knocks it on. Then South Africa come on the counter from that, and it's just huge hits going in from both teams. Josh van der Fleer manages then to turn the ball over for Ireland, and they kick it clear. South Africa then, they look to spread it as they come back, but they're halted by Bundy at key. He gets over the ball. Ireland managed to turn it over, and they go wide to James Lowe. He first of all avoids a tackle, then kind of palms off another would-be tackler, and has the pace to go over in the corner. But then we come back for a TMO check, and we see that Kelleher was on the floor when he hooked the ball back to Ireland. That's why it came out on the Ireland side of the ruck. So it's no try, and absolutely the right call there, I think, from the officials. I normally don't talk about the officials, in terms of their decision making or whatever, but I felt like they had a good game today overall. Some really tough calls they had to make, and I felt like they were getting the right calls on most of them. But that's as much as I'm ever going to say about officials. I'll only ever praise them. I don't. They get enough stick from other people anyway. But from here, then Pollard, he calls from the tee. It's it's well left and wide, his kick, and you feel like it's really not like him. His kicking from the tee. It was a difficult kick. He's missed like 3 kicks. One of them probably a gimme. The other 2 were difficult. But you would expect out of those that he would have got at least one of them. But again, it's that whole thing of the pressure that was on this game. It affects even the top players. The best mentally as well are going to be under that strain. We then have an enthralling kicking contest that ends with Casey putting in a lovely 50-22. Some amazing takes from both sides as well. Like, you had so many players on both sides were so good in the air today, getting up there, being brave, claiming that ball, and then doing it, right after again as the ball went. And for me, I got to ask the question, why would anyone want to take that out of the game? That was one of the, the best parts of the game. Sometimes, yes, you get kind of kick tennis where you just kick back and forward and not really going anywhere. But that's not what this was. The ball was going up there, and the guy knew he had to get up there and claim it, because if he didn't, his opposite number was going to get it. And suddenly you're in big, big trouble, because the opposition now have the ball in your 22, you're on the back foot. And, so they knew that's how important it was to get up there and make sure they got it. And pretty much everyone did it from both sides. And, it's brilliant to see. It's brilliant theatre. And again, I don't understand people who just go, oh, we don't want kicking in the game. Why? It's stupid. Anyway, we then have a break in play. Casey got hit hard by Munster teammate R.G. Snyman. Seemed like maybe a bit of whiplash, they were saying in the in the commentary. And I thought he had a pretty good game for Ireland as well. Doing really well, having to come in with everyone would have thought in the build up to this, obviously before Jameson Gibson Park's injury, that Casey would have been kind of battling with Murray to be on the bench and not kind of in the picture for a start. But the guy did so well. A fair play to him. Conor Murray then does come on for him. South Africa, they win a penalty. It was a very competitive scrum at the restart, but South Africa finally, the power came through for them, and Ireland, just kind of disconnected at the front there. James Lowe then managed to keep Pollard's kick up the line in play, but Cheslin Colby, absolutely brilliant from him, pounces on it, hacks it forward, and then has the pace to get there to dot down to what felt at that stage was the winning score of the game. We come back for a TMO check to see, was Lowe in touch as he scooped the ball back in play. You could argue all day, like freeze frame or wherever, this angle, that angle, and say maybe he still had his hand on the ball. But the crucial thing was, because the on-field decision was try, it had to be clear and obvious. And there's no way anyone can convince me that it was clear and obvious that James Lowe was in touch. Because I feel like it's one of these ones, right? I feel like that whatever eyes you're looking at, whether it's like obviously neutrals as well, even if you're neutral, you've got to skew one way or the other. But for Ireland and South Africa fans, if you're a South Africa fan looking at that, you're absolutely convinced that, if it came down to it, that he managed to scoop that ball in. It was a great bit of play for him that obviously worked against him, but he managed to scoop that ball in before his studs touched the grass, okay? If you're Irish, maybe you're going to argue the opposite way. But if it was the opposite way around, and if Lowe actually kept the ball in and then it led to an Ireland try. I'm pretty sure that some of the people arguing one way would be arguing the completely opposite way. That's how close it was on that, and that's why I don't think it would be fair to overturn the on-field decision. So again, I thought the officials did absolutely brilliantly there. And again, we're probably going to see freeze frames or an angle that I didn't see live or whatever that apparently conclusively shows. Or for me, don't worry about that, right? They did so well, I think, live. They gave it enough time. They looked for as many angles as they could, and you've got to just applaud Cheslin Colby for his quick thinking and then the skill as well to execute. There's no point in doing that, and then he kicks the ball and it skews out, into touch or something. The guy executed well and got there and finished as well. Then, so at this point, then it's Pollard lands the conversions, 20 points to 8, and we then have a bit of handbags, tensions boiling over a little bit, and they expected in an environment like this where both teams are just massive hits, and I'm sure there's lots of things being said one side and the other. Kobe then he kicks out in the full. Ireland come on the attack. South Africa apply pressure on defence. Grant Williams then kind of slides in to try and make a tackle. So penalty to Ireland for him going off his feet. But then South Africa get up in the line out, and Peter Steph du Toit steals it. South Africa kick it clear, but they're still stuck close to their own line. Ireland, you feel like they need a score if there's any chance of them coming back. And South Africa, they're conceding penalties for not rolling away. Crowley goes to the corner. Ireland putting on huge pressure across the line. South Africa managed to hold them out, but back we come for a penalty, and Aaron said he goes to the bin. Ireland then tapped the penalty. Kelleher goes close. Doris then close again. He gets held up. Great defence from South Africa once again. We have a TMO check. You can see he's definitely held up. And just amazing defence from South Africa on that one. Doris then collects the dropout, runs it back. Beelum, lovely inside pass to Kelleher. He's in behind, fixes the cover and puts Murray in under the post, converted for 20 points to 15. Lowe then carries the restart back over his own line. 5-meter scrum to South Africa, and he probably should have just let it go out. But again, that's the pressure that was here in this game. South Africa monster Ireland in the scrum, the best push that they got the whole game. They saved it for a crucial moment as well. It's a penalty try. Kelleher goes to the bin. So at this point, we're at 27 points to 15, and this is all in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. All this is happening. Then Ireland hit back from the restart. Nash goes through a gap, flings it wide to Lowe. He then carries it, draws some cover, offloads to Baird, who goes over in the corner. Crowley misses the touchdown conversion because basically he was racing the clock to make sure we could restart the game. There's no point landing the conversion and then that's the game over. So he does that. Ireland then attempt to go from their own 22 from the restart, but they knock on, and that's the game over. 27 points to 20 final score. South Africa absolutely deserved winners in that one, but I think Ireland acquitted themselves well in the game as well. So Ireland always chasing the scoreboard in that one. I felt more accuracy needed for the second test, but I feel like they did well to make it a close contest as well, and there'll be certain areas to look at where they're obviously going to want to improve. Set piece, certainly, but you look at some of the performances from them as well, and they're really good, but as well, the South African back row, Quagga Smith carrying, Peter Steph du Toit was absolutely amazing, Khaleesi as well, and then the Irish back row weren't that bad as well. Doris was to the fore, Van der Fleer getting turnovers, Peter O'Mahony when he's on, doing very well. Ryan Baird had impact from the bench as well. Etzebeth had an epic game. The backs on both sides, both wingers for South Africa, brilliant in the air and brilliant on the counter as well. James Lowe with 2 magical moments and 2 moments he'd like to take back as well in the game. And Nash was a little bit quiet, but when he got involved, he did well too. Osborne on debut, amazing at the back. Willie LaRue, said it before, Rolls Royce of a player back there as well. Pollard and Crowley, yes, they missed stuff from the tee, but they still drove their teams around the park very well, I felt. Both certainly, I would imagine at least, would be back starting at 10 again next week. I don't think, any of the misses that they had were like that bad that you'd be kind of hooking them or anything like that. Front row and replacing front row for the Springboks was amazing. I still, for Ireland, would like to see, Kelleher or even Herring starting and Sheehan on the bench, just because I feel like, having that security of, decent line-out ball at the start of the game and having a decent platform is so important, I think, for any team, especially for Ireland. And also I feel that Sheehan's impact towards the end of the game when people are tiring would be immense as well, because the guy is so good in open play. But we'll have to see what happens with that. I'm sure there's tons of players that I could have mentioned that I didn't, and it's not that they didn't have a great game. It's just that I've only got so many minutes to do one of these. I don't want to be going on for an hour. But South Africa, they created some good scores, punished Ireland's mistakes ruthlessly as well. Absolutely epic contest, this one, and hopefully get more of the same next week.